Okay, in this video I'm going to continue talking about the new round of houses that we went to go see this past weekend. Allen Road was a 3-year-old ranch that we went to go see for $182.9. It was towards the high end on the price, but we kind of expected that since it was so new. It was $15.60 for the square footage, and it had a full 1/4 acre of land. The negative about this house right off the bat was that it was a ranch and that it only had 2 bedrooms. All the other ones we were going to see had 3 or 4 bedrooms. So this one was going to have limited living space. And while it had 2 full baths, which was a positive, and hardwood floors, a shed for storage, a small patio, and a fireplace, it also had some negatives. It had no garage. It only had 1 floor, and we weren't sure if it had a basement before we got there because none of the websites for houses for sale said anything about having a basement or not having a basement. It didn't say either way. So we just crossed our fingers that it would have a basement, so we would have at least 2 levels of living space if he wants to play his music in the basement and I'm upstairs. You know, we'll be able to do our own thing a little bit more without worrying about how loud each other's music is and stuff like that, and it'll just give us more space. But when we got there, we found out that it did not have a basement. So that pretty much put it on the elimination list right there, especially combining that with the fact that it was only 2 bedrooms, which would mean we would have 1 for master bedroom and 1 for probably an office, and no other space for a guest room, which is a big negative since all my family is out of state. And I miss them, and I want them to be able to come and stay over if they want to. So that pretty much eliminated the house. But the final thing that was a big negative that really made us say we cannot get this house even though the inside is gorgeous was the whole exterior. The neighborhood, the street that it was on, all the wires above ground. This house even had wires that were attached to it, and it had this huge big metal, looked like a cell phone tower or something like that. A big metal tower right next to it, all this brush that wasn't cleared, and it only had 1 neighbor, and the neighbor it had was extremely, extremely close, too close for comfort. And the neighbor was on the side of the patio, so if we were out there hanging out on the patio, then we would have absolutely no privacy. So Allen Road got eliminated, and it was hard for me to do because it had the most beautiful, largest kitchen, probably about out of all the ones we saw. It had a gorgeous island, it had beautiful countertops, and the kitchen dimensions were 29 by 13, so it was huge. But we had to eliminate that because it just wasn't going to work for us, and that house was on the market for over a year, and it's only 3 years old, so what does that tell you? It would be very, very hard for us to sell it when it's even older than 3 years old, when it's about 13 years old, and it's in that same horrible location. So, because we can upgrade the inside, but we can't really change the location of the house, we decided we just had to let that go. Now, the next one was Harvest Lane, and this one was the highest in price and also the highest in square footage out of all 5 that we went to go see. And just to give you an idea, the range of square footage that we went to go see was 1404 for the smallest house, which was on Ringing Rocks Park Road. And then this one on Harvest Lane was 1904. So that was the range of square footage that we went to go see on Sunday. This one also had the most number of bedrooms. It had 4 bedrooms. All the other ones had 3, and then Allen Road had 2. And then it had 1.5 bath. price was $187, and taxes were about $3,500 for 2009. It definitely had lots of pros on paper, more pros than cons, and I made little pros and con sheets for all the houses that we went to go see. Took it with me and added a couple more pros and cons as I saw them. It had ceiling fans, it had great kitchen cabinets, it had brand new stainless steel appliances that were all included, fridge, dishwasher, and stove. It had beautiful new ceramic tile kitchen floor with like a decorative little part in the center, and had a good amount of space. It had more bedrooms than any of the other ones. All the bedrooms were on the upper level of this bi-level, except for one which was on the lower level. And that would be good if we just had one person stay over as a guest. Then they could be on a whole different floor than us, and everyone would have their privacy. It had, you know, one bathroom upstairs, one bathroom downstairs. And it had a roof deck, which there was no picture of it online, and we were very excited to see. So when we got there, this is what the house looked like. It was definitely very cute. Lots of landscaping and just a nice little cozy appearance with one-car garage. But there are lots of negatives when we walked inside the house. And a couple of the things that were negative were the whole downstairs bathroom would have to be completely redone, everything about it. And the deck was very unstable and kind of was just like a hazard. I'd probably redo the whole deck before I had any kids go anywhere near there, or elderly adults, because the railing, when I stood up next to the railing, it was below my waist, and if I went near it, I just felt like I was just going to fall right off. And the way this bi-level was set up, with the deck coming off the top floor, it was very, very high off the ground. They called it a roof deck in the description, and I guess that's because it was so high up. You definitely could not, you would not want to fall off of there. So I would have to do a whole new railing, and then the railing to go down the steps was very wobbly, and the stairs were wobbly, and we looked at the bottom, and it just seemed very unstable, like we would have to redo the whole deck. And it was also very old and would need cosmetic touches too. So that was a big downer, because we don't want to have to spend all this time like upgrading exterior things on top of, you know, cosmetic stuff on the inside, on top of buying new furniture and accessories. It just would get to be too expensive, I think. So that was a really big negative. Also, the awkward layout was a negative. The way the dining room was, you could not fit a regular table. You could not fit a small table. The only thing you could possibly fit in there would be a tiny bistro table with 2 chairs. And they already had a small table in there when we went to go see it, and that was too big. You would have to have a very miniature table. And just trying to walk through there to get to the deck from the living room through the dining room to the deck was just a very, very tight squeeze. And they didn't even have that much furniture. So that was a negative. And then the last negative was the horrible green carpet. As soon as I walked in, I said, ooh, I do not like this carpet. It was literally lime green, and it was in the whole house. The stairway, the entire upstairs, every single bedroom, and the entire downstairs. And I was thinking that this must be from like the 70s or maybe 80s, and that the only reason why anyone would have this shade of green is because it's from a very long time ago. But then I found out, nope, this carpet is actually brand new, and they put it in to try and help sell the house. So that one got eliminated, and on top of everything else, we found out it's on the bottom of a huge mountain, so it might have a wet basement. So check out the next video to see the 5th house.